You could have heard this episode 48 hours early on our Patreon, patreon.com/Indieheads podcast. By joining us for as low as $1 a month, you'll receive episodes early, gain access to our Discord server, and get yourself an Indieheads podcast sticker. Main episodes go up on our Patreon 48 hours before it hits our public podcast feeds. But if you're hearing this via our Patreon feed, we thank you so much for your support. We especially want to thank our Real Ones Patreon supporters, including Georgia Mikowski, History of Violet, Ataxin, Delaney Mothman, Josiah Duncan, Marcy Anime, Matt Cameron, Alex Gershmanoff, Cal50, Chance Holdup, Charles, Chris Wade, Commander of Beef, Gavin Forandy Freak, Grant, Griff, I Want a Girl with a Short Skirt and a Long Penis, Ian, Insomni Black, Jake Wald, Jamie Elward, Jay, Jenna LaFleur, Keep Autism Weird, Maze Farms, Mark Barry, Matthew Taylor, Max Kapazinski, Nicole Rifkin, Rena Kay, Robert Mariano, Sarah Moore, Tay, Tim Discount Prices, and Zach. And if you want to be amongst these names, consider upgrading to our Real One tier on Patreon, where you'll receive a bonus episode every month on top of other perks. And before we move to the episode, I just want to thank the rest of our Patreon supporters, including Jason Daphnis, Kevin Cookman, AJ Moser, Alec Felder, Alexis Davin, Ellie Eleanor, Bailey March, Becca Ntien, Chedas, Cody Gagan, Derek Pemberton, Eleanor Grams, Razor Red Baby, Eric Chow, Finitrice, Gavlin, Gator First 20, Holiday Kirk, Jack Tiggleman, Jacqueline Kadaga, James Boss, Jeremy Ball, Josh, Willie, Matthew Herring, Matthew McPherson, Midwest Maxwell, Molly O'Brien, Nato, Rainey Donaldson, Sarah L., Toonses, Vingle LaFleur, Will Griffin, and Will Forthrell. Anyways, though, enjoy the episode. Hey, Matty here. Before we get into the episode, this is just a not awkward way of getting you right back into the pod because we recorded this as one long session. We did not intend for this to be a two-part episode, so I had to split it up into two parts posthumously. Is that the right word? I think that's the right word. Anyways, it's two parts, and this is me introducing the second part as Jay and I are going to go through our number 3, our number 2, and our number 1 favorite Joyce Manor albums. So let's get right back into the pod.
But yeah, anyway, anyway, your number 3, Matty, or yeah. I guess
what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Of All Things I Will Soon Grow Tired. And your number 3 is
$1 Million to Kill Me.
I will pay it. I will pay it. I will do whatever. I will get on the phone with Navient and get $1 million from Sally Mae or whoever is servicing my student loans, and I'll do it.
$1 Million to Kill Me comes out in 2018. Of course, it comes out right after Cody, and is at the time is this interesting record where it's not a course correct record at all, but it's also like it is at the time like probably the first Joyce Manor album that's just like, oh, it's another Joyce Manor album, you know, like that was maybe the reaction at the time, but in the years since, I've just kept coming back to it. It's just one of the most like easily listenable Joyce Manor records because it's just like, it's kind of, for me, like it's not my favorite, of course, as we'll get to later on my list, but for me, I'm like, in terms of what I like about this band, it's kind of a platonic ideal. You get like a nice mix of the things that I like about current Joyce Manor. Mind you, of course, you're not getting anything like, at least like I used to go to this bar and like 40 ounces of Fresno. You're getting stuff that like is in that self-titled vein. There's like nothing that's in that self-titled vein on this album. Although I guess that's the case for Cody too, but Cody is like, it's a very structurally different Joyce Manor record anyways, where this is like kind of a like, okay, we're falling back from some of the Cody stuff. But for me, I'm just like, I look at this track list and I'm like, man, a bunch of my favorite Joyce Manor songs are on this album, and you get some like pretty different stuff at the time for them too. Like, I think Fighting Kangaroo is a great intro. I think I'm Still in Love with You is like one of their best songs. Like, I that is a fucking banger. Like one of the best. It's just like just a perfect pop song. Big Lie is fucking incredible. Like that might be a top 10 Joyce Manor song for me. Because and it's got one of my favorite Joyce Manor lyrics, which let me pull up the lyrics of Big Lie real quick. So I just want to make sure that I'm quoting Barry Johnson correctly. I'm not paraphrasing him when I say the following words, which are girls can be kind of controlling. I want to be controlled. I think it'd be all right. That's one of my favorite Joyce Manor lyrics. Just simple to the point, being like, yeah, girls can be kind of controlling, but like, I want to be controlled. It's okay with me. I'm fine with that.
Likely thing for you to say.
Yeah. And also again, just it's just an incredible hook, and like the bridge is great. Like I think it's one that it's the most popular song on this album, and for good reason. Like it's one of the best songs they've ever made, in my opinion. But it's like I'm Not the One, great little acoustic ditty. Obviously reminds me a lot of some of the stuff of reminds me of some of the acoustic stuff on Of All Things I Will Soon Grow Tired. Um Title track is great. I love Silly Games. It's a very, very different song for them. Like this sort of like 60s psychedelic power pipe poppy type shit. Friends We Met Online is just like, that's my life story. Just like, yeah, that's me and my friends we met online. Like so many of my best friends right now are people that I would not know if not for meeting them online. Um, Love Gone Tomorrow, love Wildflowers. I'm just like, I look at this track list and I'm like, it's really well sequenced. There's no songs here I dislike or even have that many nitpicks with. Like, there's some risky stuff on this record that is like very different from anything they made before and since, to an extent. I think a lot of the gambits on this record, like for my money, my however many dollars out of a million, I think it works out. I don't know. And I'm trying not to be a contrarian or any of that bullshit. I'm just like, I just have a fondness for this record that, again, I'm surprised it's this high. But just like when I was putting together my list, I'm just like, fuck, I really rock with this record. Like, I think it's great. But it is your number 7, and please, I'm very curious to hear your side of this, because I think there's some of the fundamentals I would not disagree with, but
no,
how much they bother me is I think that's the fundamental difference in our list. It's just like, how much do the flaws of these records bother us?
And see, this is kind of the thing about this record, is that like I don't actually like, I don't hate it, but it's certainly the worst. Like it's just, there's not anything on there that makes me want to go back to it. It is like when I went back and listened to all the Joyce Manor records before we talked about this, I was like, this is clearly the product of a very depressed mind. And I don't mind that. Like, I don't think that's bad, like, not at least like off the rip. But it is, when I listen to it, I think of, oh, could a depressed person do this? Could a depressed person make this record? And it's like, yeah, like clearly, man. Like this is this is a bummer of a record. It's not like, I just don't want to go back to it. I don't like the vibe on it. I think Fighting Kangaroo is a good song. They got fucking Pat from Spraynard to play on this. And I love Spraynard, but it's just not like a fun record. It's not something that I want to go back and listen to. And I've listened to Joyce Manor most of the time because they're fun. They make me think of like driving around and having the sunshine on my face and like hanging out in the park. And this is not a record for that kind of stuff. And so like overall, man, it's just like, that's why it's the lowest on my list. It's not even about the fundamentals. It's just about like, yeah, I don't like this. Like there's nothing on there that I think, yeah, they didn't do this better anywhere else. Like they've done it. Every song on this record has a better counterpart somewhere in the discography. And I think especially like the newest record, which on my notes I have written, what if $1,000,000 to Kill Me was better? And like, it just is that kind of thing where I'm like, yeah, there's one record certainly has to be the last, but there's not a single song on this record that I don't think I can listen to and say, oh yeah, I liked when they did that kind of thing on this other song, and it's better on the other song. So that's kind of where I end up on it. It's not like necessarily, you know, the worst thing in the world. It's just, it is what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said, something has to be seven.
Yeah,
So
something's got to go at the bottom, and you know, I think the fact that like it is a more depressing Joyce Manor record, it's a bit more downtrodden at times. Like that for me, that's like, well, that is the similarity between my number three and my number one is the fact that
mhm.
like in terms of like, okay, like where is Barry Johnson's head at? Is it at its lowest? Yes, it is on this record and my number one, and like I think that's kind of the reason why I enjoy this. And I will say for I used to go to this bar. I will say that I do agree with I see like my own point in your
Mhm.
point, where I would say that like I used to go to this bar is not a follow up to 40 ounces of Fresno. I used to go to this bar as a follow up to $1,000,000 to Kill Me.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of like the same DNA in that record and this one of like, okay, some of the experiments they were trying are very similar, and like I obviously I would disagree on the better part, but I'm like, it feels its DNA is way more linked to that, where I feel like 40 ounces of Fresno is more a follow up to Cody than a follow up to
Yeah. I get that.
it feels like again the place in the discography is like way out of whack and way swapped, and obviously part of that for 40 ounces and for Cody and 40 ounces is like it's the same producer, so that makes sense of why it feels like more of a follow up to Cody versus the other way around. But
Yeah. This is produced by Kurt Ballou, which is an absolutely insane thing.
yeah,
Like I love a lot of Kurt Ballou produced records. And then, you know, it being a Joyce Manor record, I'm like, who did this? Like who who came up with that? I don't
yeah.
know, man.
I will say I think parts of this record make a little more sense if you have some of the context that like originally parts of the sound were planned to be a Barry Johnson solo record. Like I think
Yeah.
I want to say Silly Games was like either Silly Games or Gone Tomorrow, where like explicitly like Barry's like, I don't know if I want to do another Joyce Manor record. Like I'm just gonna write some songs and like do them myself maybe. And of course ended up kind of going back to the band and doing the band over all over again with this record. So I but again, that also ties in with my number one of like this record feels like a Barry Johnson solo record, as does my number one. And that's I feel like you get the most honest insights into Barry Johnson the person with this album in my number one. Not to say the other records are dishonest by any means, but I think you get a much more like unfiltered look um into his psychology and sort of creative mindset of like, all right, what is this like unfiltered, like just more straight from draft to the song versus okay, like presenting the song to the band and then the band kind of working it out and kind of making it more of a Joyce Manor song. Like
Mhm.
this, and that's part of the appeal of this album. But also totally understand. But the point of like totally understand like feeling again every song on this record has like a counterpart where it does what the song does better. I disagree, but I totally understand the point because like that's the thing with Joyce Manor is that like they have they have a very specific kind of formula. Like they have a formula, but it's not like oh every Joyce record are the same. It's like there's minor tweaks. Like it's
Yeah.
like every Joyce Manor album has a very similar taste, but it's the aftertaste that's always different with each record. Like you come out of that record being like, this one's got a different little aftertaste, a little different kick to it. Once it's sat
Mhm.
with me for a little bit, and this one definitely for some fans has a very bitter aftertaste, but I, I usually don't like bitter taste, but I kind of like the bitter aftertaste of this record. I don't know. It just
This is the IPA of Joyce Manor records.
which is crazy because I hate IPAs. I fucking hate IPAs. I think IPAs are terrible. But sometimes you just find that one IPA you like, and you almost get blackout drunk off it because you really like it that much. And
Mhm.
that it reminds me of the time that I one of the first times I was in LA, I had a double IPA at a bar in Frogtown, and I liked it so much that I had to have my friend drive me home because I got too drunk.
Hell yeah.
So he drove my rental car back to his apartment because I was staying with him anyways. And I'm like, man, it's a fucking miracle we all got home. And I honestly think the only reason that he was not as drunk as me is that he's like 4 inches taller than me. So
there you go.
and I was not as experienced of a drinker yet. I could not hold it down like I could now. But is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? We ain't talking about that. We're talking about Joyce Manor. We're not investigating any of that, any psycho. We're talking about Barry Johnson's psychology. We're not talking about the Maddie Monroe psychology. Although I guess we are. In subtle ways, we're talking about both the Matty and Jay psychology of why we enjoy these records as much. But
all right, then.
Number two. I think we have the same number 2 based on.
Yeah, I think we do actually, which is cool. I was like, I knew we had a little bit of overlap, and I think this is where we overlap, and it's Never Hungover Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck is there to say about Never Hungover Again other than it's a perfect album? It is
truly almost perfect record. I think, like, can you pull up that track list real quick?
Yeah, we need to pull up the original track list. So when the backstory of the album is it's been told, but if I remember correctly, so basically they put out Of All Things I'll Soon Grow Tired, and Barry wasn't happy with it, and they're just like, I don't know. They get picked up by Epitaph, and sort of the before stage of this album is that it's two things. It's one that Barry wanting to like reprove himself as a songwriter, being like, hey, like I can be a great songwriter. Like this one record, like Self-Titled was not a fluke. Like I can still put out great songs. And also the other side of the story is that Chase, the guitarist, just between those two records, just becomes a much better guitarist, simply because if I remember correctly, his girlfriend was in college, so he would just like hang out in her dorm and just smoke weed and play guitar, and that
extremely cool.
So he just got better at guitar. He just started coming up with a bunch of really cool riffs, and then when it came time to like convene and start working on this record, Chase was like, hey, I've got all these like cool riffs, and he showed those riffs to Barry, and Barry's like, hey, I got some great songs. Let's figure out how we, make these riffs work with your songs. And what you get is you disagreed, I guess. I heard a little disagreement of saying that this is a perfect album. You're
There's only one song. There's only one song that I don't think, and it's good. I've come around to it, and that is it's In the Army Now.
Which I fucking love. I always loved In the Army Now. I've never disliked that. Again, I will not say it now, but for a very long time, I would have told you that it was my favorite song on the album. It's not
out
anymore.
Of your mind.
It's not anymore. It's still a great song. I'm probably now more in like Schlee or Victoria. Schley. That's probably where I lean more towards now.
Victoria is a classic. That was my favorite for years. Okay.
I got the original track list pulled up. So the album was originally titled In the Army Now. That was the original title.
That's
so right. Let's see. So this is Ian Cohen. This is the original thing was talking about Dogleg, which is like, oh boy, remember Dogleg? Oh buddy.
You know what? I don't, because I never listened to them. I heard a lot, but I never listened.
You anyway. Again, you were lucky. I didn't get that into them, so like I lucked out at the end of the day. But like for the people that are really into them, oof, rough. Anyways,
I gotta talk to you about that after this, because yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways. Ian Cohen makes a tweet being like, reminds me of when I did a Joyce Manor interview and they said they were going to have Christmas Card as the closer on Never Hungover Again until Brett Gurewitz told them to do the opposite, which that is on its own. Christmas Card is the outro. What the fuck? What?
So let me tell you something. and this is an interesting thing that I remember from when they did the NPR first listen for this album, that the track listing on the NPR first listen was fucked up, and Christmas Card was the closer on that version. So every time I listened to it for the week before the record came out, I thought Christmas Card was the closer. And it does kind of work.
I think,
but it's not.
I think it would work in a different context, but not in
Yeah.
the context of this original track list. Which, honestly, if you had a like gun to my head, what is the worst possible way you could sequence this album? This would be the sequence. Like, almost so Joyce Manor says original sequence terrible. Almost called In the Army Now too. So first track is In the Army Now, which no. That is not an out. That is a deep cut. That is a deep cut.
Predilection for absolutely shocking people right out of the gate is like, that's the pathology that I want to get into when we're talking about his psychology. Like, what makes you want to just like absolutely throw everybody off of the fucking boat like as soon as they get on?
Yeah, like when we were talking about way earlier about 40 ounces, about like Souvenir being the intro.
Yeah,
like, that is like, what if the original sequence of Never Hungover Again, like what if that actually happened? Like that's 40 ounces, or that's at least the intro to 40 ounces.
Right, but he also like he talked about like of all things I Will Soon Grow Tired. That record, I think like it's fine to start off with These Kinds of Ice Skates or whatever that's what it's called, right?
Yeah, These Kinds of Ice Skates.
Yeah, These Kinds of Ice Skates. I think it's fine to start off that way, but he was like, "Oh, I felt like I was like throwing people in the deep end," and I'm like, "No. This is throwing people in the deep end. This is
These Kinds of Ice Skates is a great intro. Like that's a great intro.
Yeah,
which we'll get into. But In the Army Now, first track, Schlee, second track, which I could see a scenario in which that works, but I'm like after In the Army Now, like no, you're like immediately throwing me all, so like you're slapping me. It's like the fucking scene in Always Sunny where like he's getting slapped by both Mac and Frank. Like you're really throwing me off my fucking game, man. But Victoria afterwards, which like okay, sure, it makes sense. I think that's, if I remember correctly, that is the actual sequence on the record. Is Schlee into Victoria, or is Victoria into Schlee? Hold on, let me verify.
I'm looking at it right now.
Victoria into Schlee.
Yeah, Victoria into Schlee.
Yeah, it would maybe work either way, but again, one is definitely better than the other.
Well, Schlee is a really good ender for the A side. I think Schlee is like a real great way to end the A side of the record. It's like big sing along. I love that track.
Yeah. Catalina Fight Song number 4 on the track list. What the fuck?
I think that's a victim of the classic, like, this is where the lead single should be on the record.
That makes sense.
Is the lead single, and like I think it's a great first single. You know, I will say I almost made my background for our Zoom call a tattoo that somebody got of the word "suck a titty by the ocean." There's like, I found a photo of somebody who had freshly gotten it done, and I was like, "Oh, this is a mess. Like, you're a fucking freak for that, not in a good way."
But actually, on that lyric, honestly, in re-listening to this album a couple times before, you know, like prepping for this episode, it is really hard to not hear that lyric. Like, it's really hard to not hear it.
I think I was on the forum that I was on where people like were sharing their music back in 2010. Like, I feel like that is the place that somebody came up with it sounding like that.
Yeah.
Like, because the day that single dropped, somebody said, "I thought he said sucking titties by the ocean." And I was like, I get like thinking that, but it's not, you know,
it's not that.
Right.
But you listen to it and you're like, I see it. I completely understand, because he's not enunciating enough. So I understand why people would think that. But
dude, it's crazy that everybody like really got all wound up about that one when that song also features the line "car smells like hot Gatorade," which is like A+. This is the kind of that's what I'm talking about with songwriting. This is, you've unlocked a core memory. The entire car smells like hot Gatorade. Every time I smell hot Gatorade, I think of that song. Every time I'm in a hot car, I think about Gatorade. It's just like, yep, I know exactly what it smells and tastes like in that car, and it's disgusting, and I also love it.
Yeah,
so,
paints the most vivid picture in your mind. Like
somehow
you were again for that one line, you were in the 40X theater. Like
for that line, you have been transported. I'm having the Ratatouille moment to getting in the back of a Honda Accord with cloth seats, and it just smells like fruit punch Gatorade that's been left in the car for, I don't know, 4 days, 5 days.
Yeah,
why not?
And I think
it's the middle of summer.
And if I remember correctly, like that one is just based on like a real thing to happen to Barry and Chase when they were like younger. Like I think
probably
maybe the Disney, like the Disney World trip they talk about, that like sort of essentially formed the band of like, yeah, no, we were in a hot car. It was hot Gatorade. Like
that's great.
But yeah, so vivid. Track 5 being Heated Swimming Pool that's not the end of that is an outro if I've ever heard an outro in my life. And that's your centerpiece is Heated Swimming Pool into the summer. Like those like into the summer maybe could work as like a centerpiece.
I mean,
but
I think in this case,
too chill.
I think in this case, Heated Swimming Pool is the end of the A side, which I get. It's a good closer, but this closes the A side. End of the summer would start the B side. These are things I understand, and yet when they are written in this way, and especially as we've entered the streaming era, this is not a good track list, man.
No,
I love you and respect you. Never hungover again, but no.
Yeah.
The jerk ending up in the exact same spot's perfect, though.
Whoever
came up with that, perfect. You're the GOAT. Like, that is exactly where that song fits. Yeah. That's my favorite. You know what? It is no longer, I would say, my favorite Joyce Manor song. But it was for the longest time. I think that's just the best thing on this record.
Yeah.
I would love to. I don't know if they played it when I've seen them live, and I've seen them a few times. I was like, it'd be cool to see that.
I think it's one of those weird ones where like they don't like, it's not like Of All Things Else and Grow Tired where like Barry just like hates that album and like basically will never play, basically only like at gunpoint will play something off of it live. But the trick is I imagine it's probably a tougher one to pull off live. I think they were doing it when they were doing the Never Hungover Again anniversary dates just because they had to. But I imagine it's probably a tougher one to pull off live just because like it immediately kicks in a way where it's like, yeah, there's no intro. It's just like you're right into the shit. And like I imagine it could be probably like a little tough to figure out how to play it live compared to like other songs in their catalog. Hard Tattoo, track 8, that's fine. Not horrible. Classic song. Probably I think that is the first Joyce Manor song that I heard because it was in rotation on my college radio station when I first joined. So that is the first Joyce Manor song that I heard. And then Falling in Love Again, track like penultimate track that and obviously Christmas Car is the outro. I'm just like, I see a scenario in which that works, but not with the 9 tracks that are preceding it. Like
no.
And then especially Falling in Love Again being like right before it, like no, just doesn't. This is a horrible track list. Thank God for Brett for stepping in and being like, I'm fixing this fucking thing. Like you got like, this is your first album on my fucking label. I'm not letting you sabotage yourselves like this.
I'm a fix Never Hungover Again.
Like I will fix this fucking shit for you guys. So like you have a future, not just on my label, but just like in your careers. Like
right.
You just came out of a record that was like purposeful self-sabotage. I'm not letting that happen again. Like you have the songs. I'm gonna make sure they're in the right order. And thank God that Brett stepped in because what we have is a classic fucking record. And like as you'll find out, my number one, it is not my favorite Joyce Manor album, but like, is it the best album they've made? For some people, it's like there's not a difference. There is a difference between your favorite and the best. This is the best Joyce Manor album. This is the platonic. This is the album. Like I do appreciate that Barry Johnson is pretty consistent being like, yeah, no, like this is the best album we've ever made. Like, no one way about it. Like, yeah, no, this is the best album we made. Like, this is us at our peak. Like, in it. And honestly, I think that is probably why that is a subtle reason why Joyce Manor has sustained is that they realize they peaked with this and have not like they've not fought it. They're not like we got to make a better
No.
record than this. They're like this is our best album and we're just gonna keep doing our thing because like we peaked here and that's fine. We're just gonna just keep
Well, I
on
think like
trucking.
understanding that it's like it's a long road, man. It's
Yeah.
they've been a band for damn near 20 years. It's like
Mhm.
it's a long road and you can't like if you capture lightning in a bottle, you are lucky enough to have caught that lightning in the bottle the one time and because everybody still celebrates you for that, it's okay to continue to celebrate that yourself. You know? These songs are all
Yeah.
perfect except for
Yeah.
In the Army Now, which is pretty good still. I think it took me a long
Perfect
time.
to me, but I get it. Perfect to me, but I get it.
I think the concept of there was some point where like I finally came around to the line I want to kiss you through your hockey mask and that was kind of where I was like okay, like
I will say that
there.
line and that imagery like that is the most like 2014 emo like
Yeah.
fucking free like state champs free throw tiger's jaw
Yeah.
fucking bullshit ass line.
A lot of stuff that I hate, save for Tiger's Jaw. I like Tiger's Jaw quite a bit, at least like the original stuff. But dude, yeah, a lot of like real bad. That it's a Barry Johnson clunker, as you said earlier. That like I came around to it somehow.
Like it's
Dude,
court, but like I do love that line, even though I know I shouldn't. I'm just
yeah,
like, you know what, Barry Johnson, you deserve to write a really corny ass song like this. Like you've earned that. You've earned that place. Like it's a nice
this
change of
is
pace for the record, but it is very clearly like it is the sore thumb. Like it's the one that stands out the most on this album. Like, oh, this doesn't quite fit. But like again,
yeah.
that is the charm, is that like even on the record in which like almost every effort that they attempted to make to like self-sabotage was thwarted, that is the only one where it's like yeah no like very like let me get my one self-sabotage in. Like please, although for me I don't think it's
They earned
self-sabotage.
it. They earned it by then. You're allowed a little bit of experimentation. This is your first, major indie release.
Mm-hmm.
You can get one. You can have one little freaky song. You're
Yeah,
allowed.
and some of the fucking again the earliest classic albums of all time. Like I recently did a first time listen through the first 6 Beatles albums, and like Rubber Soul especially we talked about a little bit
Yeah.
on the last 50s episode. Rubber Soul's a great record. It ends with Runaway. What's the fucking song name?
Run for your life.
Run for Your Life, which sucks. It's a terrible, like it's not just a terrible outro, it's just a bad song, but like it's still like Rubber Soul's still a classic record. Like that song
Oh yeah.
doesn't ruin the album overall, because like, well, yeah, you wrote like however many of the greatest songs of all time right before that. You can again, you took a risk and it didn't pay off totally, but like it's easy to forget about that risk when you got all these songs coming before it, especially with this record where it's like, yeah, you had Christmas Card through the Jerk, and then after
Yeah.
it's like by the time you're like, oh, that's kind of a weird song, you get Catalina Fight Song, and you're like, forgot about that. It's Catalina Fight Song. It's a goddamn heater. One of the greatest
Yeah,
short
man.
songs ever made. Wait, I mean, every Joyce Manor song is like one of the greatest short songs ever made, but like even for them, this is a fucking short. It's a minute long.
I
Like,
think that was kind of like that's just been one thing about this band that I continue to think about where I'm like, man, everything that they do is so concise and they do so much better than all of their peers in way less time. Like they do it and you're like, god damn, like I saw a review from somebody, I don't remember who it was, uh while I was doing some research before this thing, and they said that it might have been Ian Cohen, honestly, because it sounds like him when I'm about to say it. but it might have been somebody else. But they said that Joyce Manor, one thing about Joyce Manor when it comes to like making good pop punk is that they know that they're allowed to stop the song, and so they just do.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, exactly. Like they don't have to go back and do, you know, 3 more verses on Catalina Fight Song because they've only got a minute. Like, no, they did the one thing. It goes straight through. You know, you get your car smells like hot Gatorade. You get never really had a drug phase. You get lyrics like that, and you just like, you're done. You're out, and it's good. We're like, we have nothing more to ask for.
It feels weird, like a really weird movie. You get all these great lines on this album, and I think we've kind of gotten at this.
They start off with fucking looking at your face in the dark. You don't even look that smart. Like, just
come on,
just give it. And like I said with the NPR thing, like where I was like, yeah, it opened up with Falling in Love Again on the whatchamacallit, like when I would press play. And so the first line I hear on that is thanks for showing me around last night. I hope you don't think I don't care, because I do. I just don't know if I could feel that sad about you. I'm like, oh, there we go. Like we're there, baby.
Crazy line.
Yeah, just great. This is a mean record at times, and I love it. I do love that.
We've kind of gotten at this a little bit so far, talking about Barry Johnson as a songwriter, but like the reason why I think compared to his contemporaries, like why he's so lauded, like why his songwriting over the years has endured, is that he doesn't know how to write songs normal. Like,
no,
he is a very like,
and maybe he does, but he doesn't do it, and I love that.
It's I think it's a mix of like he doesn't know how, but also just like it's like you. Okay, I'm gonna this is gonna sound maybe like a weird example, but like to kind of get at the point, I am an index finger typer, right? Like they try to teach me a way to type.
That guy.
Yeah, but I could type fast. Okay. Like this thing is like I type only with my index fingers, but like I type at a normal pace. Like I don't type under pace or anything. I'm not like hunched over being like I'm like, nope, I type pretty normal and fast. It's just like and maybe it's an autism thing, maybe it's just something else. Just like that's just what makes sense to me. And like I think Barry Johnson has a very similar way of writing songs of just like, this is how it makes sense to write songs to me. I just don't know, like I obviously like I listen to tons of music, and I understand what makes a pop song. Like I can figure out the formula, but I'm just like, that doesn't feel natural to me. So like when they try doing that shit on Cody, it like works, but like you can kind of tell that like they're forcing it a little bit. Whereas like where this record shines is that it's just like, it is Barry Johnson as a songwriter, simultaneously unfiltered but also filtered. It's more just like again, whoever I believe Joe Reinhardt produced this. Joe Reinhardt of
Joe from Algernon Cadwallader and Hopalong.
Yes. And I think just understands like, hey, like these are the songs you've written. I'm gonna pump these up to make these sound the best they can sound. Right? Like I'm not trying to fix you as a songwriter compared to like maybe the way that like maybe a Rob Schnapp is trying to like fix Barry as a songwriter. And like honestly, I think it's maybe the issue with 40 Ounces to me is that like you can tell in Cody he's trying to fix Barry Johnson as a songwriter, being like, dude, like I'm gonna try to teach you how to write songs normally. And 40 Ounces, it's just like, I give up. You don't want to write songs the way I want to. Fuck it. So we'll just record what you want to record, and we'll do what you want to do. Like almost a producer for hire type thing. I'm just like, fine. Whereas like this is like, hey, I'm gonna refine you in subtle ways. Like I'm gonna make sure that like everything here is you, but like really accentuated to the best possible way that you could sound. And like that's the magic about it, is that he's the fucking himbo prince of pop punk. Like he's a himbo, and that is why I love him, is that he is such, especially on this album, he's such a fucking himbo on this album. It's some of the lyrics we read out are just like, man, he is such a himbo. But again, I say that with the utmost respect and positivity.
Yeah, that's a high compliment, honestly. I do think like this is a band who is really good at editing themselves on records.
Yeah.
You know, again, like I said, they don't go circle back for, you know, the chorus or whatever. They don't circle back, they don't go around. They know that the impact that you are going to get off of the one listen of the song and the one moment, that you can just listen to the song, like you can listen to the record again.
Yeah.
And
Just
you
play
don't
it back.
have to go listen to the song again. And that's, I think that is like one thing about Joyce Manor that I have always thought, which is that you can always go back and listen to the record again. And that's, you know, as we talk about your number one, I think that's like a major thing to understand about this band, is that when you think about, oh, you know, this song or this record is too short, it's like you can listen to it again. Just do that, you know? And they know that and we know that. And that's is where it kind of comes together.
Yeah, like there's some like I was talking with a friend like last week, and she was telling me about like a friend of hers that doesn't like Joyce Manor because their songs don't follow traditional structures. And it's like, motherfucker, that's the appeal. That's the appeal of this band, is that like they are working in very familiar genres, but they're coming at it from like a very alien point of view of just like, it sounds like this genre, you know, but like when you actually dig in and go like try to like investigate the song, you're just like, how the fuck did he like how is this how he came to the song? You know, like finding unusual solutions to problems, being like, okay, how do I write this song? Okay, it's like you're getting the feeling you get, that you're getting the feeling at the end of the day that you want to get, but just finding a very unusual path to that feeling. And then, as you said, like there's some, I imagine there's some songwriters that like hear some of the hooks that Barry writes on this album, and it's just like having that point of frustration, being like, if I wrote a hook that good, I'd be repeating that shit over and over again. I would build verses and choruses around the song without understanding that like the reason why that chorus is so good is that you only hear it once, maybe twice.
Yep.
And it's out. That's it. Like that like, it knows exactly where to go out. And is that intentional? Is that unintentional? Based on everything I've read about Barry Johnson, it's kind of unintentional. Like he just doesn't know how to write songs normal. And that is why he's such a good songwriter, is that he comes at this from such an unusual point of view that's just very specific to him and him alone. And that's what makes him so great. And like if you like if you don't get it, suck it. I don't know. Like sorry.
Yeah, man.
Well, not suck it. Skill issue. Like, all right, you
no,
don't get it.
It is a skill issue. And I think though, like I'm with you where it's like, you know, when it comes to these song structures being like a little untraditional and things like that, it's not like it's, you know, I think they just understand like the economy of a record, right? Like,
yeah,
they understand that, you know, like, oh, I wrote a cool, like, for example, Chase writes all these riffs for this record. And this record's chock full of really great riffs, and they work ways to like put songs around them. And I think Barry, for sure, if you listen to those old Joyce Manor tracks, like especially, you know, things that are from around the demos and things like that, the guy has a really good idea and says, you know what, it doesn't have to be that much more than this. Like, I'm not going to kill myself to make this song into a 3.5 minute epic for radio stuff. This can be a minute and 20 seconds of a chorus and a chord progression that I like, and it's done, and that's fine, and that's great, and that's the shit. I love that.
Is that like, there's never any Joyce Manor songs, like even the worst ones, where I'm like, this sounds unfinished. Like it's like again, you get a complete song each time. Like you're like, yep, that's exactly how long. Like I'm not coming like, I'm coming up being like, oh, I want more, but not in the way of being like, oh, I want more. Like I want more in the song. I'm just like, I want more because it's such a good song. And it's like, well, if I want more, run it back. Like just run it back. And this album is full of songs where just like, run that shit back, man. Like put it on repeat. I think almost every song on this album I have put on repeat and listened to it back a couple times in a row. Like just the song itself a couple times in a row, because I love it that much, and I just want to keep hearing it again because it's that good and it's just that satisfying. to the ears and to my body and my mind and my soul. And this is just like, yeah, no, Platonic Ideal, like this is just a fundamentally perfect record. Like, obviously, aside from the one glaring flaw in your opinion, which I don't think is a flaw,
It is what it is.
but it's like nine for sure perfect songs. Can't get better than that. But we obviously we mentioned some of our favorite Barry lyrics on this. But again, there's sometimes like obviously there's the funny ones like the almost purposely awkward stuff, or like on fucking Victoria, where just like one verse is literally just about like yeah, I just oops, I couldn't get into my apartment, so I took the screen door off the frame, and oops, I cut myself, and so I washed the blood off my arm, and I put the screen door back on the frame, and oh yeah, shit, I'm alone. Okay, like, and it's just fine. one of the most devastating things you've heard in your entire life. Just talking about, oh yeah, I got locked out of my apartment, and I had to take the screen door off, and that's how I got back to my apartment. And it's just devastating and just so like sad, and paints such a vivid picture. But then you do have like stuff that is like actually like very emotionally like cutting. The line that I always think about on this album is like old friends who never ask, how can you be happy when you wear all black? And they care because they wanna. Like, that's just like such a lyric that just really cuts to the surface, like, just like, yeah, no, just it just for some reason just really cuts to me, like, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, not to harp on Heated Swimming Pool, but like I wish you would have died in high school so you could be somebody's idol. Like,
again, a couple of the most devastating lines you've ever heard in your entire life, like mixed in with like just some like, my house, my rules, my heated swimming pool.
My heated swimming pool. That's exactly like they're non sequiturs that also just make complete sense. I mean, again,
or
there's not
Christmas card. I'm gonna stay with you until you disappear into the crowd. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I think about it still. Like, oh my god, like what the fuck? Like, oh my god, just cuts so deep.
I mean, it's all just like, man. Again, it's another like early 20s angst record, maybe mid 20s, late 20s. Just like, it's a great record for all of that stuff going on around you when you enter the real world, so to speak. And man, yeah, you're living it up, and you're having brand new experiences that you have never had before, and you're an adult, and you're like, oh, this is just like kind of the record that defines all of that. It's not as easy as the same. I think we got to move into the number one, man. I think it's about that time. Yep. So my number one, I already said it, but self-titled, and your number one is,
of all things, I Will Soon Grow Tired. If you don't believe me, it's tattooed on my body it's tattooed on my arm forever. Happen?
I was gonna ask.
Yeah. 2021. It was like, I got my first job out of college, like first like day job out of college. So got like my first like actual paycheck. Like first time I got a paycheck that was like $1,000. And I was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Right. And so obviously like, vaccines were out. And so I'm like, all right, like I have a job.
I gotta go get one of those.
I gotta
vaccines are out. I gotta go get the jab. I gotta go triple up on this Moderna. I gotta get my 15th Pfizer.
Yep, I got vaccinated, and I was like, all right, because I wanted to do it in 2020. I think I was thinking about doing it in March of 2020, and then of course the world ended, and so I was like, well, I can't do that, and so
I definitely didn't go get a tattoo during COVID lockdowns.
I could have, but I didn't have the money for it. But
but I for sure didn't do that. Is all. I definitely didn't just like go into an abandoned building and get a tattoo. Okay, but listen, I will say that's way less sketchy than after I moved to New York and I got that like second round of vaccines. So we did like the first, you remember you did like the first round or whatever. And then like
the first two jabs, you get your first Pfizer, and you go back 2 weeks later for the second.
Yeah, and so you get your first two jabs, and then like later on that year, they were like, "Hey, man, like you got to get a booster." You know?
Yeah.
I go get the booster, and I found like a Rite Aid in New York right after I'd moved there that had it. And they were like, "Yeah, just sit down here," and I'm sitting in the fucking snack aisle next to the M&Ms at a Rite Aid while they give me the booster. And I was like, you know what? Getting a tattoo in the middle of COVID lockdowns was like way less sketchy than this.
I mean, here's the thing: that sketchy tattoo place is they're probably still tattooing people.
Oh, he's doing fine.
Yeah, Rite Aid. I think they closed all the Rite Aids, so
yeah,
food for thought.
Food for thought, indeed.
But got my first actual paycheck, and got the jab, and I was like, okay, it's time. I went down to a tattoo shop in St. Louis and got the tattoo. I posted it to Instagram. I think the band reshared it, which was crazy. I was like, this is at a point where like I like again only really was like only just getting started in the industry, so like shit like that still was like holy shit to me. Whereas now like there's still some holy shit moments, but like it's like okay, it's normal. Like okay, I'm in the industry. I can't be a fanboy like that anymore. But there's some bands and some artists who are like, yeah, no, hard not to fanboy still, and Joyce Manor is still one of them. Even though I'm literally friends with someone that is in the touring band at this point. Like,
yeah.
But I've not used that to be like, oh, can I meet the band? Like I'm scared. But I know at some point it's going to happen where like I'm gonna use that connection and actually like meet and talk to Barry and the rest of the band and be terrified as fuck. But and I will
say it is really funny when like I have friends who play in bands and then like they end up meeting somebody and they're like, hey, just so you know, like I do have the tattoo of like a logo, like of your band's logo on me, which like they're like at this point they're like, yeah, I've seen everything. Who cares?
Yeah, I think it would hopefully not phase them, especially because like they've seen it, and for a long time when you Googled of all things, I will soon grow tired. Like when it showed you like the Google preview being the album art. It was my tattoo. Like that was what it was shown on Google, which was crazy. I don't think it was anymore, but for a couple years there it was. But okay. Wild. The record itself, of all things, I'll soon grow tired. My number one. I think one of the first things of note about this album is that Barry Johnson fucking hates this album. It is by far his least favorite Joyce Manor album, and he's been consistent about it for years. I think when he did an interview with Danielle for Kerrang a couple years ago, around the time like a year or so after $1 Million to Kill Me came out, he was like, yeah, that's our worst album. Like I do not like that record. And then when they're doing their they're doing their own album rankings recently, I think like a drunk history video of some sorts, I think Barry also had this still at the bottom of his list. And which I if you read up on this album's background, it's understandable because they put out Self-Titled in 2011, they become scene heroes, and all of a sudden have these like giant expectations in front of them.
Yes,
of being like, how do we follow this up? And Mike from Asia Man is like, hey, like if you guys like want to put out like, hey, I'm not sure if you like, hey, I want to put out your next record. And so maybe other bands feel like, oh, I want to put out your next record. It's like, oh, great, we have a label we're signed to, and he's stoked about us, and we can just take some time and work on the record. Whereas Barry Johnson was like, hey, I want to like, Mike's like, hey, I want to sign you guys, and Barry's like, what? You want to sign us? Oh fuck, I gotta get a record out right now. Fuck. Where it's like, I don't like, based on everything I read, I'm like, that wasn't the scenario whatsoever. Like he wasn't like, hey, I need a record like right now.
No,
like, Barry just self-imposed some like deadline on himself to get another record out. And so what you get on this album is like about a third, if not half of it, is like actual songs. Like you get full blown like, okay, these are finished songs. Like these are songs that are like finished Joyce Manor songs. Obviously, like, you know, Violent Inside, Bread of Usher, their cover of Video Killed the Radio Star, these kinds of ice skates. Well, maybe not these kind of ice skates. Then you get like the half finished songs, the songs that are like almost done. Like, maybe these are like not first draft, but like second draft. Like, okay, you got the demo done, and then you record the song, and you go, okay, how do we change this? What do we need to do to fix it? That's like these kind of ice skates, kind of comfortable clothes, um, kind of if I needed you there, of like,
Yeah.
okay, these are finished ideas, but they're still ideas. And then you get stuff that's just straight up demos. Like demos are just like lo-fi bullshit. See how tame I can be, drainage, I'm always tired. And you're hearing me say these things and you're like, wait, do you like those sound like issues? And let me tell you, these are not issues. That is why I love this album, because as I was kind of getting at with $1,000,000 to Kill Me, this is the most unfiltered look that we will ever get of this band. Of like, this album is actually unfinished. It is not a finished album. They only had a week to record it, and not enough of it was finished. And so when Barry sent the record to Mike, he's like, "All right, this is what I got. Fuck it. I don't know. I just like." He was not in a good place in his life. Obviously, just the pressure of the self-titled and sort of being lifted up in this scene, and just going through like personal life bullshit. He hasn't really gone into like what was going on, of course, but like just the line that I've always thought about of what he said about this record is that uh, it's a confused record because it was made by a confused guy. And for Barry Johnson, he says that, and he says it as a bad thing. I see that as a good thing. That's why I love this record. Is that like when this record, like when I got into this record, like I was in a similar boat of like I was in a fucking confusing place in my life, like and I got into something before COVID struck, but even then it's like, okay, like, late 2019, early 2020, where like, okay, I'm still like, I'm about to wrap up school. I've got like a semester, like 2 or 3 semesters left of school, getting this degree that like, I don't think I want this degree that I have, but I'm too far in to give up now. I was doing, like my degree was mass communications, but it was like video production shit, which like, that was not a career I was interested in going into whatsoever. Like that just was not what I wanted to do. But like, when I was getting all my credits transferred from community college, it's like that is what makes the most sense for you to do. So I was like, okay, like I just want to get this done as quickly as possible, just get my bachelor's and get the fuck out. So if this is the quickest path, it's the quickest path. And in this, in my first like long-term relationship, like a relationship that lasted for longer than 2 months, and so I was just like navigating this like very like weird confusing time in my adult life where like I was so ready to enter that next phase of adulthood, but like just not being able to do that. Like I was just not there yet. And so when this record hit me, like that's where I was, and that's why this record like means so much to me, is that like this record is the closest I get to like being in my own head of like I have ideas in my head that like, certain ideas and thoughts and all this stuff that like, hey, some of these are finished. Like these are like fully formed thoughts that I have that, I can present to the world and talk about and be like, hey, I'm proud of this and I really want to, like talk about these things. And then certain things that are like, okay, just like just I want to throw these ideas out there, but like they're not finished. I want to kind of work on them a little more, like refine them a bit, but like still feels important to get that out there. And then just some stuff that's just like firmly in my own head, being like, this needs to stay with me for the time being until like I can figure out what the fuck I want to do. And you know, having that mindset, but realizing that like that's being a person, like having all these things, like having, these emotions and these feelings that there's some stuff you fully understand and you fully are able to come to terms with and talk about it, write about it, commiserate with friends, deal with it. Some stuff that like is a little more compartmentalized, like kind of working on it, but I'm not quite there yet. And then some stuff where I'm like, yeah, no, like I have not worked this shit out, and I just, I don't know what the fuck to do with it. But these feelings are in my head, and I just gotta, they're there, and maybe I'll deal with them. Maybe they're just you just never can deal with these thoughts and feelings, and that's why this record, like, just from just the looking at the record as a whole, not going into song by song, that's how I feel. Like this record is one of my all-time favorites because it is just such a like, yeah, like in terms of like what like who I am as a person, like what album can best describe me as a person? This is one of those records of like all these things going on in my head, all these things going on in my life. This record speaks to them to some extent in some shape or form. Um and I love it to bits. But you had this at number 4, number 3
Three.
on your list?
Three. And it's a record that, like, I will say, if it was longer, even if it was more, demo stuff, if it was longer, it could be higher, I love this record dearly as well. I was in a similar spot actually when it came out, and that it was like, it
Mhm.
came out like a week and a half after my 21st birthday. And I'm, ending out my semester, my last semester of junior year of college. And then, go into the summer, and I've got that record, and I've got like a summer job going on where I'm working with a golf course and doing their social media, which, like, it was such bullshit. I was just
Mhm.
like lying about the stuff that I was doing for the place. And like, but also the owner was fighting people on social media, and he was paying me in cash under the table to do all the stuff. And I was just driving around my college town fucking listening to this record and the self-titled and a couple of other Joyce Manor like demos and things like that I'd all thrown on a burnt CD, you know?
Mhm.
And it's a scattered brained record. It's a little weird. It's off-putting to certain people, but at the same time, like, honestly, man, I think that, like, as much as there's some self-sabotage in the idea that Barry gets Mike Park to put the record out, and Mike Park's like, yeah, just send over whenever, and he throws this together. Um, and Joyce Manor put this out as a full band, you know. And also they work with Jack Shirley on this, which, like, all right,
I think
Jack,
is that the only time they've worked with him? Or
yeah, but like,
that's fucking crazy.
but at the same time, dude, like at that time, Jack Shirley's not making music like what Joyce Manor did.
Oh yeah.
Jackson Comadre at the time, and Comadre is a Scrams band,
Yeah.
one of my favorite bands of all time. But like, he's in a Scrams band, and he's working with like metal guys and stuff like that. He's not working with bands like Joyce Manor, especially not on things like this,
Yeah.
which is like super 80s intoned, and again, though, like, 13 minutes, a lot of people were pissed off about it at the time. They were like, well, I thought the new Joyce Manor record was going to be at least like a 20-minute record. It's like, no, it's almost half the length. It's under half the length of the last record, if you consider that Video Killed the Radio Star isn't their song, you
Yeah.
know? But again, they put the record out, and it's like, it's a shock to the system for so many people. But at the same time, they get over the sophomore slump by just getting something out there. I
Yeah.
think that, like, the sophomore slump is often a product of overthinking. And the
Mhm.
sophomore slump doesn't necessarily have to be like your band's second album, right? But like, the second record of note from your band can be the sophomore slump, so to speak.
Mhm.
The second record where people start paying attention to your band is where that sophomore slump happens. And I think we just saw it with like Turnstile, where, everybody starts paying attention to Turnstile at what Glow On, when it comes out in 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes out in 2021, and they waited 4 years to put out a record that fucking just does not sound good. It's just like, what if we just redid all of the big high moments from Glow On but worse. And that's a sophomore slump. But you waited 4 years to do it, where Joyce Manor was like, well, if we can just get this out of here in 1 year, that's like, that's fine too. And it sells and people like it. Again, they don't love it as much, but I don't know. One thing I wanted to ask you about this record and about some of the unfinished stuff is, how did you feel about like the Toys That Kill split with like the full band redoing of a couple of those songs?
Okay. I guess before, yeah. So I should get my thoughts on the songs that are on this version of the album before I get to like the split stuff.
Oh, true.
I got thoughts. See How Tame I Can Be. That's my favorite Joyce Manor song. That is my favorite.
Okay.
That is my favorite Joyce Manor song. Is See How Tame I Can Be. The version on this album is fucking awesome because it's a demo. Like it's not. Yeah. It like you have these like fucked up like super amateur like just like what is that fucking guitar noise and like the shitty drum machines. Like it's a demo and that's why I'm maybe more okay with like the split version. Is that like, okay, the version that's on this album is so clearly a demo, it's not a finished song. And I'm like,
yeah,
I love both versions.
I love the version of Tame that's on the album. I think that's a brilliant song.
Oh yeah, I prefer the version that's on the album, but I think the split version is like, I think that's also a good song. That's definitely what he actually had in his head with like what he wanted the song to be. Totally makes sense to redo that song for the split. No problems whatsoever with that.
I will
Pride
say,
of Usher.
Hold on, one sec. Okay. I will say though about the version of Tame that's on the split with Toys That Kill. Honestly, just sounds like a Toys That Kill song. I don't know how much you've listened to them. Like
I've not listened to them at all,
but it's like even if you listen to the songs that are on that split with Joyce Manor, like that shit sounds exactly like what's on the Toys That Kill or Toys That Kill side. And it's like, yeah, all right. Which like frankly, I don't know. I honestly lost track that like that even happened back in the day, because frankly, like, much love to Asian Man Records, much love to Recess Records that do Toys That Kill, but like, not as good about publicizing stuff as a record label like Epitaph is.
Oh yeah, and I think that the split came out the same year as Never Hungover Again, so like got overshadowed, of course.
Right, but it's at the same time, it's like they're just not good at like putting it out there that this exists.
Yeah,
and so
which maybe that's by design. It's just like being like, hey, we just want to do a split.
No, I think it's just that it's punks being punks and just not being good at it. And it's record labels that have done a lot of stuff that I love that just aren't like good at doing certain things, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But like, I had no idea that these versions ever came out, and like until years later. But yeah, what about Bride of Usher?
Okay, Tame, I understand wanting to redo that because it's not a finished song on this album, so I understand wanting to like do especially a proper full band version of that song. Makes a ton of sense. I think what's on this record, you can't do it live. Like it just doesn't work live. So having it where you can play with a band makes a ton of sense. Bride of Usher is a finished song. It is one of the only songs on this album that is finished. Like it is a finished song. I think either was it Violet Inside or was it this that was the lead? I think it was Violet Inside that was the lead.
Violet Inside is the lead single, yeah.
But still, Bride of Usher is a completed song on this album. It's a fucking it is we were talking earlier about like they've been sounding like the Smiths since 2012. This is the song where it's like, they sounded like the Smiths since 2012. The version on the split is so fucking bad. Like why?
Oh,
like,
I love it, but I get you.
It just does not, like, it's not terrible, but I'm just like, you made the song worse. Like it just like the version on the split sounds like the demo, and then this one is the finished version. So like I do not understand wanting to revisit it and then change it so fundamentally where it's like if you're gonna like pick any song in your catalog where it's like, hey, you want to redo, like, it's not finished, I want to redo this one. Why one of the songs that's finished on this album that is full of unfinished material? I don't understand it. I think even Barry years later is just like, yeah, I have no idea why I did that. Like, and that kind of goes to show you that like even the good stuff on this album, even the finished material on this record, he does have a resentment towards it still to this day, because he was in a weird mind space when he was creating it. And like, I understand that, I get that. And this, I'm gonna not be too mean to Barry Johnson when I say this. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. You wrote an album full, again, this, you wrote a great album. Even when you're fucking around, you wrote a great album, man. Like, even when you weren't, like, quote unquote trying, or like even when you were trying to sabotage your own record, you still made a great record that is, even at 13 minutes long, the most complete album you've ever made. That's maybe too far of a take, but like an album that even at 13 minutes still feels totally complete from beginning to end. It's a whole journey. It's a whole thing where I'm like, I'm not like, oh, you need to add more to this. I'm like, it is, for me, it's perfect. Like, there's no area where I'm like, oh, you should, like, maybe throw another chorus here, or maybe maybe it needs to be a little longer. Like, no, there's no parts of this record where I'm like, you need to flesh this out, you need to do this. Like, it is perfect as it stands. Like, it is a case of self-sabotage that actually works in your favor. Like, I keep getting like a YouTube short for like what is probably like a European or Russian TV show being like, oh, you get this app and it tells you when you die. So like, like it tells the app, and it's like, oh, you're gonna die 57 years from now. So there's like one guy's like, okay, I'm gonna jump out of an airplane because it told me I'm not gonna die until this. So like, even in your attempts to sabotage yourself, instead of jumping off a bridge and falling to your death, you fell into a truck of pillows. Like, that is this album, is trying to kill yourself and falling on a truck full of pillows, or or trying to jump off a building and some guy breaks your fall. Like, that is this album, is that even when he is trying to make a bad album, Barry Johnson can't help it, especially at this point in time where he is like a fucking incredible songwriter. It's like, dude, even your ideas are like are incredible. And I think also part of the reason, obviously, just the fact that he was in a bad mind space, is that also, like, this is just, for Barry Johnson, like the most fundamentally honest record he ever makes. Like, if you're talking about like, oh man, we were talking about, $1 Million to Kill Me being like a pretty downtrodden record at times. This album ends with I'm Always Tired. What a depressing end to an album. This like 49-minute long, like super lo-fi acoustic song about being like a fucking couch potato who is not going to do anything about their own life. Just be like, I'm always tired. Fuck it. Same for See How Tame I Can Be. Just being like, like just having these feelings about somebody, but like not being able to, like, just being too lazy to like tell them, or being like, just in such a holding pattern in your life where like, I could say this, I could do this, but like, I can't do it. I can't be arsed to do it.
Yeah. I will say, with regards to self-sabotage and things like that, this is another record where I was doing research and I found out about the original title of the record and the original artwork.
Oh God.
Did you read about this?
I probably did ages ago, but for the listeners, please.
The record was supposed to be titled Father's Rights, and and the artwork was supposed to be like a stoned hippie. And I believe the quote from the Wikipedia article mentioned that Johnson's friends had a quote unquote muted response to this, which is, I love this band so much, and yet every single time Barry does something, and like his first gut idea is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard. And it's so funny that every single time, like, again, despite somehow trying to fail, they continue to succeed at such a high level. We talked about like the the original track list for the one record. We talk about like, the idea of putting people just like straight up in the deep end, and putting the cover song first on the record.
I mean, we didn't even talk about Cody. We're like, with Cody,
Cody,
they were gonna like, we're gonna end Joyce Manor and just become a new band called Cody. Until I assume someone from the label is like, why?
Do not do that.
Do not do that.
You fucking do that. Like,
fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Every single time. Like, I can't stop laughing about the idea that, like, the second Joyce Manor record could have been called Father's Rights. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just, what are we doing, man? Like, I love this. I hate and love this shit so much. And despite your best attempts to fail, you have succeeded once again.
Honestly, I think an underrated factor in why Joyce Manor has sustained for so long is that, like, they have good friends. They have good true friends. Like, they're not
Truly
surrounded by yes men or people that are like unwilling to like communicate with them. Like, they seemingly have developed a network of like very good people who are like encouraging in the right ways and knowing when to like put their foot down, being like, no, don't do that. Why? Father's rights?
Father's rights.
Father, the album cover? Like, no, what the fuck are you doing? Like, honestly, kind of same with like 40 ounces to Fresno. Like, that record maybe is my lowest because that is probably the first time that like no one is really telling them to put their foot down, being like fucking Barry Johnson sitting Brett the album cover, and be like, this is the album cover, Brett. And Brett's like, okay, sure,
all right, whatever. Yeah.
And so when he comes back being like, no, I want to change the album cover, Brett's like, it might be too late, Barry. It might be too late. And Barry's like, no. It's no, please, I want to make this. And Brett's like, okay, I'll change the album cover if you want to. And then probably like under his breath being like, thank fucking God. Like, if this was the album cover, we would have to have destroyed so many of these fuckers in our warehouse. Jesus Christ. Like, at least with this album cover, we can actually sell some fucking records. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Even though I will say, like, I didn't realize that they didn't know that it was like a Germs reference on the front with the O.
Oh yeah.
Being blue. Yeah. I thought it was like, yeah, it's a Germs reference. And they were like, oh yeah, I guess it is, but we didn't mean that. And I'm like, what do you mean you didn't mean that? You used the exact blue.
I think they just had like whoever was designing the album cover just did that on their own. And they're like, this looks cool. And then someone was like, oh, did you mean that? I'm like, we didn't make the album cover. We just like,
yeah,
someone made it, we approved it, and we're like, okay, it's cool, album cover, we'll go with it instead of father's rights and the stoned hippie. like Jesus Christ.
Here's the actual quote from Barry. Okay, this is kind of a long story too. But the album was originally called Father's Rights. It's a weird inside joke. We saw a sign that said, is it Father's Rights? And I just thought that was really funny. It's a legal billboard kind of thing, like a trustee lawyer or something. This made me laugh. I don't know why. The girl I was dating at the time drew this burnt out, stoned looking hippie girl. And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I had her do a groovy font that said Father's Rights with this burnt out, stoned hippie. And I was like, that'll work. I sat with it for a while and people asked me, what's the new album going to be called? And I would tell them, it's called Father's Rights. It's got this drawing of a hippie girl on it. Nobody responded well to that. It wasn't like the first record. People weren't like, yo, banger photo, I love it. They were like, are you okay? So that got old.
He's such a himbo. Barry's such a beautiful himbo, man.
I love it. Oh. I deeply just, God. On the topic of whatchamacallit, like cover art, the cover art on the self-titled, between everybody thinking at the time that it was them as children on the cover, combined with the child on the front staring directly into the camera, like banger.
Yeah.
All-timer album art. I love the Never Hungover Again album art. I love that they're like, it's two people on the cover who are partying, but it's not sexy. And I'm like, what why did my boy Matt have to catch strays like that? It's crazy.
I will say it's funny because I think in a recent interview they were talking about like where Matt like was like it took them some time to like convince Matt for that to be the album cover. Like Barry and Chase like, this is a great photo. This would be a great album cover. Like what, like I was like, I don't know, like I don't know about that. And then when it came time to do like the $1 Million to Kill Me album cover, where Matt looks like more awkward, he looks like he lost his mom on the album cover, and he just approved that right away. He's like, I had no issues with that. And they're also like, how did you have no? He's like, I don't know, just I thought it was fine, like he looks just so awkward on that cover. But I also love the $1 Million to Kill Me album cover. It's also like it's a they're drinking champagne, having fun. And obviously the new album cover is great. Again, I still look at this and I'm like, that's Sarah Sherman. That's not someone's
That's
grandma.
not Sarah Squirm.
Like that's Sarah Squirm. And it's like, no, it's like a friend of, it's like our tattoo artist's like grandmother. And he showed us that photo, and then like a couple years later after she died, Barry's like, hey, can I use this
Yeah.
for the album cover? And he's like, okay, sure, go ahead.
Shouts out to Chris Clean. He's done a lot of really great tattoos over the year.
Hell yeah. But
He's a monster.
but like, of all things, I'll soon grow tired. I think it's great. Getting into like little bits on all the songs. Obviously, "See How Tame I Can Be" is just like, that's my favorite Joyce Manor song. Just, I love how fucked up it sounds. I love the like drainage. I love that it's just like, oh, he just put like a Mount Erie song in the middle of the album. It's great. I kind of wish we got more of that. Like, we've gotten some more like acoustic stuff with Barry, some more like minimal stuff, but I'm like, I want a full like lo-fi like folk album from Barry at some point. I hope he like does that. We'll see. I mean, based on the recent record, it may be ages till we get to that point, but I would like to hear more stuff that sounds like that. And then the video "Kill the Radio Star" cover is like, gun to my head, my favorite cover song of all time. Like, it's a fucking incredible cover. Like,
It
again,
is. It's a great one.
Just again, it is the best kind of cover song of completely understands the essence of the original, but does something so completely radically different with it that is like, it's perfect. Like, and then "If I Need You There" is so nasty. It's great. "Bread of Usher," great fucking, Smiths ripoff. And then "Violent Inside" is just, again, just a song that very much like is a perfect link between this album and "Never Hungover Again," of like embracing more of that like power poppy side of their songwriting, and that kind of leads perfectly into "Never Hungover Again," of embracing the sound they were kind of going for on that song. And obviously, "I'm Always Tired," this like horribly depressing acoustic outro that again gets at something really real and raw, and is a perfect way to end this fucked up album. Although I think it's funny, I believe Barry has said that his least favorite Joyce Manor song is "Comfortable Clothes," which is like, oh,
Crazy
sure.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
I agree, it's crazy, but I'm like, no, but like, sure, but also like, wrong, like just completely utterly wrong. He said that back in like 2020, so I'm not sure if he would feel the same way now, but um yeah, we're coming to the end of the podcast, and I do have a little personal story about this album. So I saw the band at Long Beach Arena, and before the show, my homie Neil, aka Phony, who is who does like backing vocals and plays acoustic guitar and like some synth stuff with them live now. He's just hanging out with some people, at the arena before the show, and so come up and talking with him about the show, wishing him luck. And I'm like, hey man, am I going to hear anything from Of All Things I'll Soon Grow Tired? And Neil's like, hey, I'm trying to convince Barry to play more stuff off this album, but he's like, hey, you're gonna be happy. Like, we're gonna play something, you're gonna be happy. And I believe they played the split version of "CL Team I Can Be," and I believe they played "Bread of Usher." I have to double check the track list, but I was happy. I was like, okay, good. They're playing the stuff. They're good. They're playing something off this record. Which, like, hey, if you're playing this fucking your biggest headlining set ever, that's essentially this career retrospective, show respect to the whole career. And I hope someday Barry comes around to this record, because I think it's fucking great, and for my money, my favorite Joyce Manor album, and one that I still hold very near and dear to my heart, and near and dear to my arm, because it's going to be on my body forever. So
there you go.
There we go.
It's a good story though. I like it.
Yeah. Shouts out to Neil. Phony's awesome. Again, all the Phony records are
Phony's
sick.
great. Shouts out to Donovan Wolfington. Go listen to their record, How Do You Treat the Ones You Love? A classic.
Yeah. But there we go.
Or whatever it's called. I fucked up the name on it. I don't care.
Okay,
you'll figure it out.
This episode's been going on for a while. We're recording wise. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, it's not gonna be I don't think it's gonna be 3 hours when I finish this, but we'll see. But thank you all for listening to us rank these Joyce Manor records. We actually might end up splitting this episode into two, just to
feel free.
might have to. But thank you all for listening and enjoying our talks on this really great band. I used to go to this bar out now on Epitaph Records. We're not being paid, but just telling people it's
But
out.
we should be.
Should be telling. Hey, go listen to the record. It's the best album of the year so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to two guys talk about this band's discography that does not span even 1/3 of this podcast in time. So
I was gonna say, I think this is. I mean, looking at the Spotify playlist that I made a couple years ago, putting together all the discography, I think it ends up, and that's including songs from Northern Torrents, ends up at 2 hours, 28 minutes long. We have spent longer than that talking about the entire discog. We take out that record, so
Yep.
But again, short records, but so much to talk about with Joyce Manor.
So much. All right.
That's it. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.